All right, man, peace. So now this is going to be part three on the Harvey Weinstein social engineering ritual that this society is being put through right now, in which they're castigating this man, Harvey Weinstein, for doing something that every mogul in Hollywood has been doing for the last 100 plus years, and who all of his compatriots were fully aware of that he was doing for the longest time, and now they want to act incensed. Once again, it's only to correct and engineer, and when I say correct, I put that in quotes, correct and engineer the conduct of men towards females in the Western civilization. But anyway, let's see what they have to say.
The growing Harvey Weinstein scandal is forcing Hollywood to take a hard look at itself. One of the industry's major unions, the Writers Guild of America East, said in a statement, sexual harassment and assault have long been hallmarks of the entertainment industry.
Yes, it has. So now why are you trying to make a huge deal over just this one guy? Unless the code red has been called on him and he's going to be the sacrificial lamb. Believe me, the real reason why they're doing this to this man is because they just don't like him. So they said, you know what? We can utilize him as the sacrificial goat to push the veneration of the female or of the feminine principle even further. That's the time period that we're in right now. Okay? Every female in Western society is to be venerated as a mother goddess.
35 women have now publicly accused Weinstein of inappropriate conduct. Many alleged victims are hopeful their stories will prompt dramatic change.
No, they're hopeful that their stories will prompt exposure for them. When you look at most of these females, the vast majority of them, other than Angelina Jolie, and one can make the case that even Angelina Jolie, you can throw in there, their careers are either non-existent or on the downslide. People have to understand, once most of these actresses hit 35, they're done for. Because no matter how much they try to contort it or change it, the female is valued for her beauty and for her companionship. Once they get past a certain age, they better have settled down in a relationship with a man. Other than that, the only way that they can really be relevant is based off of how much noise they make, i.e. Jemele Hill. This is why I tell brothers all the time, when you see these women running their mouth, 99 times out of 100, it's because they're trying to make themselves relevant because they're not getting attention in their daily life. So now these 35 females claim to have had off-putting encounters with Harvey Weinstein. Like, what does that really mean? Were you held down and raped? Did he rub his genitalia on you? Or did he just ask you out on a date? Like, what does that even mean? I guess we'll find out.
Hollywood insiders say the accusations against Harvey Weinstein are extreme examples of the industry's culture of sexual exploitation.
Yes, sexual exploitation of women and men and young boys. But the exploitation of the men and the young boys is not going to be castigated. Why is that? Because they're trying to promote homosexuality. And pedophilia is the dirty little secret of Hollywood and the entertainment circles and of the elite that they want to keep under wraps. The reason why they're utilizing this scenario of Harvey Weinstein with the women is because they're going to transition this into an empowerment factor for the woman. Now you're going to see a preponderance of TV shows and movies that are going to put women in a much more exalting light. I won't even say a positive light, an exalting light. They're going to be playing a lot more lead roles. They're going to be playing heroines in movies and action movies, and they're going to go out of their way to kowtow to female directors and producers, things of that nature. There's going to be a big transition in Hollywood now. Okay?
Let's just say it's endemic. Actress Emma Thompson says she wasn't victimized by Weinstein himself, but that he is one of many offenders.
Okay, so then she should name the names of the guys who she knows are the offenders. Remember, this whole Harvey Weinstein issue is based off of the fact that nobody spoke up for all these years. So if she knows that the issue of female assault and disrespect towards women in Hollywood and in the entertainment circles is so rampant, then you should correct the indecisions and the indiscretions of the previous females who neglected to name him and name these other people that you're referring to. Once again, she won't do it because she wants to keep working.
I spent my 20s trying to get old men's tongues out of my mouth, you know.
Now notice she said she spent her 20s trying to get old men's tongues out of her mouth. Trying. That means that she was unsuccessful. Okay? So she got on screen, as most of these actresses do, by putting out. And now she's spending her 50s trying to get young men's tongues in her mouth, most likely, allegedly.
You know, because they were just thought, well, she's up for it.
And the reason why they felt like she was up for it is because actresses in Hollywood, they're known for putting out behind the scenes. They're known for what you call the casting couch. And during the inception of Hollywood, they got most of their actress crop from the prostitutes in the LA area back in the turn of the 20th century. Okay? Prior to women being allowed to act in plays and in the theater and in movies, etc., the role of the female has always been played by men, particularly young boys. Okay, when you go back to the ancient Greek theater, the role of women was always played by prepubescent boys. Even up, through the English theater, it was always played by young men. Okay, the woman was not allowed on stage. Once again, the god of the theater is Bacchus. Bacchus was a hermaphrodite. So now when they did start to allow females into the theater, the woman had to put out, right? She had to sleep with everybody. And that practice goes back, 150 years.
Hollywood manager Alan Summers tells CBS News Weinstein is not the only top movie executive who may have used their position for sex.
No shit. What a shock. Weinstein is not the only guy who was, trying to get women to pull down their drawers to get a role. No shit.
He says some of these power brokers know they can pay people off.
So since you're so knowledgeable about who these power brokers are and you care so much, you should name them.
Or give them certain opportunities to ensure they stay quiet. Actress Rose McGowan.
Now, Rose McGowan, she's another C-level actress who's not getting any work, who has decided that she's going to come out and talk about how Harvey Weinstein allegedly raped her. This is the connection between her and the hashtag #MeToo phenomenon that's going around the internet. Remember, she was on the show Charmed, which exalted witchcraft, with Alyssa Milano back in the early 2000s. And then those of you who remember, way back in the day, late 90s, she was dating Marilyn Manson, the known Satanist rock and roll star. Now, Marilyn Manson is one of the most high-level MK Ultra programmers in the Hollywood industry. So I have little to no doubt that this female is nothing but a sex slave. Right? Harvey knew it, and he probably went overboard. And she had a little breakdown, and she threatened to out him. So he agreed to pay her $100K for whatever reason to shut her mouth. Anyway, let's see what else she has to say.
Gowan reportedly reached a $100,000 settlement with Weinstein in 1997 after an incident in a hotel room, and says she...
Once again, how are all these women getting to his hotel room?
She's been trying to sound the alarm about him ever since.
She hadn't been trying to sound the alarm on shit. The $100K was to keep her quiet. So she's full of shit. She hasn't been trying to sound the alarm on nothing. What was the point of him giving you $100K if you were running all around Hollywood and to the media talking about him? Rose McGowan is another one of these broads who wants to be a hoe, but only be a hoe on her terms, and gets mad when a guy like Harvey Weinstein doesn't indulge her in her fake lady fantasy of taking her out to eat at least before he tries to fuck her. That's all. And, just to go back into the Rose McGowan and Alyssa Milano connection. Alyssa Milano is another one who, in the late 90s, early 2000s, every time you saw her, she was posing topless and getting in movies where she was having very, very explicit sex scenes. If you guys remember, Alyssa Milano, she was on a show, and I stated this already partially. She was on a show in the 80s called Who's the Boss? She was on that show with Tony Danza and with a young boy named Danny Pintaro, who grew up to state that he is a homosexual and that he knew it from his childhood. Tony Danza was in a film with Christopher Lloyd, who played Doc Brown in the Back to the Future trilogy. They were both in a film together called Angels in the Outfield. with a young boy he was a young boy at the time, named Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Those of you guys, you know him. He's an actor now. He was in Inception. He's in a few movies. That film, Angels in the Outfield, had a lot of pedophilia undertones. Okay? Joseph Gordon-Levitt, I have no doubt, is another little boy who was molested in Hollywood to be inducted into the clique. That is how they induct people into the clique. You have to get sexed in. All right? If they're not putting out, everybody that you see in major motion pictures is putting out. They're all pansexuals. Okay? It's just some are more honest than others. You have people like Channing Tatum who will come out and say, yes, I go both ways. All right? But everybody, whether it's Denzel, Chris Rock, all of them, they all have to cross-dress. They all got to indulge in the bacchanalian rites. Once again, the god of the theater is Bacchus. That is who they venerate. That is who they worship. Okay? But anyway, let's continue on here.
On Thursday, she tweeted at Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos, saying, I told the head of your studio that HW, Harvey Weinstein, raped me over and over. I said it. He said it hadn't been proven. I said I was the proof.
Well, you had a chance to really prove it by going to the police and filing a report. Why didn't you do that? You didn't do that because you took the hush money. So I don't know why you thought that it would be more effective to go around Hollywood, which is a culture of sexual miscreants. Why you felt like that would be more effective than actually going to the authorities? We know why, because you wanted the money, and you most likely were very accustomed to getting used sexually because that's what they do in that world. Once again, this female was with Marilyn Manson for a very long time. If you guys remember, they went to the MTV Awards together, and she had an outfit on where she basically was butt naked. She had like a net outfit on, some crazy outfit. Marilyn Manson, he, as I already stated, deep into the mind control programmer world. He's most likely under the programming himself. And he was featured. That's one of the main reasons why he was featured on that DMX album. What's the name of that song? Damien. I believe he was on Damien too. The snake, the rat, the cat, the dog. How you gonna see him if you living in the fog? Remember that? Marilyn Manson also was linked to what's his dude name? Cameron. Right? If you guys got Cameron's first album, it's called Confessions of Fire. And on the cover of the album, Cameron is posing as Vulcan or Hephaestus, who's known in history as Kush. Right? Kush, one of his pseudonyms, became Hephaestus because he was known as the Scatterer. Right? That's why he had the hammer. Right? The Hebrew word for hammer is Hephaestus. When he put down the hammer, he shattered mankind. Why? Because he caused confusion amongst mankind. That's what that parable is an allusion to. And also remember, Vulcan or Hephaestus is the god of the underworld. Okay? The imagery of Satan that we have today is totally based on Cush and Nimrod, but that's a whole other video for another day. Point being is that Marilyn Manson was heavily involved in the programming of a lot of these rappers. I'm trying to remember the name of the song on Confessions of Fire where Cameron is talking about going to see Marilyn Manson, and then he starts talking in a baby voice and he starts breaking down and sound like he's crying. I'm trying to remember. It was on Confessions of Fire. But anyway, on the cover of that album, he has the big sledgehammer as Hephaestus or Vulcan, and one of his hands he's forming the Manu Cornuto, the devil hand sign.
Proof. Now the Weinstein scandal is prompting others to come forward. On Wednesday, Issa Hackett, a producer on the Amazon TV show The Man in the High Castle, claimed Amazon Studios chief Roy Price repeatedly propositioned her for sex after a work dinner.
Well, shit, he wanted to know if the price was right. You know? Look, I don't believe that. Look, that man looked like a faggot to me, allegedly.
Amazon has now suspended Price. Weinstein's team has called his encounters consensual. In a statement to The Hollywood Reporter, Amazon says it takes employee conduct seriously and encourages employees to raise concerns.
Look, Harvey been getting his way for so long, he don't even know what the fuck consensual is anymore. Consensual to him is as if a broad doesn't cry.
Amazon has not responded to a request for a comment on Rose McGowan's accusations. The people behind the Oscars are holding an emergency meeting tomorrow to discuss the allegations against Weinstein and possible actions that they may take as a result.
Yeah, whatever. The whole Oscar, the Oscar, the board that governs the Oscars, they're all phony anyway. They're all a bunch of pansexuals themselves. They're going to castigate this man because somebody has to bite the bullet in order to exalt the woman. That's all this is really about. Hollywood period has always been a home base for witchcraft and the promotion of demonology, things of that nature. That's where the term Hollywood comes from. I think I touched on this already. The term Hollywood is just in reference to the magic wand. In the Celtic cultures, you had what was known as the Holly King, right? Half the year was ruled by the Oak King, and half the year was ruled by the Holly King. And the Holly King ruled from the winter solstice, I believe, to the summer solstice, and the Oak King ruled from the summer solstice to the winter solstice. And of course, the Holly King represented Nimrod. Okay, so when you go to the Oscars as an actor, that's their way of congratulating you for your art. That goes back to ancient Kemet, where they would also, where the pharaoh would also have a commemorative ceremony where he would congratulate the great artisans and entertainers in Kemet at the time. That's where the rolling out of the red carpet comes from. Also, the giving of the statuette. The statuette is for the god Ptah, right? Ptah. I've touched on him before. Ptah Min. He became known in Greece as Pan. Okay? So that's where you get the term Oscar from. Oscar is really an allusion to who the Greeks call Osiris, but who's known as Asar, who's talking about Nimrod. All right? So, I mean, it all comes from the same fountain. That's my point. And all this stuff is bullshit.
I mean, as soon as the story broke, you heard time and time again that he wasn't the only one. Yeah. This was an industry-wide problem.
My sense is we're going to hear more of this.
Yeah.
Look at Charlie. Yeah, just don't bring up none of my shit. I mean, I just like to rub asses. That's all. Nora knows. That's how she got her job.
All right, ahead.
But anyway, so now we're going to go a little further into the Harvey Weinstein issue with the Oscar Guild. Let's see what they have to say.
The Producers Guild of America voted unanimously to begin the termination process for Harvey Weinstein. The Guild said in a statement, quote, the PGA calls on leaders throughout the entertainment community to work together to ensure that sexual abuse and harassment are eradicated from the industry.
Well, if you're going to do that, then you have to eradicate everybody from Hollywood, because they're all involved in the sexual orgies, the bacchanalian rites. For whatever reason, they just decided to get rid of this man. Most likely because he's the most unlikable character in Hollywood.
Weinstein could be the first member expelled on disciplinary grounds. The vote comes 2 days after the Motion Picture Academy revoked his membership.
Or maybe there's some ritual that he did not want to do, right? Or some form of insubordinance that he showed to a warlock that was higher up on the totem pole than him. Because once again, all Hollywood is about is the exaltation of witchcraft. All right? That's all it's about is the Druid councils and things of that nature. Believe it or not, those things are very much still in effect. What's his name was a Druid? Winston Churchill. He was the one who brought the peace sign into pop culture. The peace sign is for Pan. Okay? The peace sign represents one finger in the woman's vagina and the other one in her anus. So, it's like I did a video in regards to the Kardashians, osculum infame, where, that's where you get the term of the veneration of the ass from, where you had to kiss the ass of Pan, the goat god. I believe it was called the witch's kiss, if I remember correctly, or was it the kiss of shame?
A huge number of sexual assault and harassment survivors are sharing their stories online.
It happened to me too.
Ain't nothing happened to your ass. Look, a damn teacher's assistant talking about it happened to me too. What happened to you? You had one sandwich too many. That's the only thing that happened to your ass.
Me too.
Me too. It happened to me too.
And it happened to me too. This is my story.
Look, you know what? Let me just let these women talk. I'm going to chime in a second.
An untold number of women posted Me Too and revealed their deeply intimate experiences of abuse. Their stories flooded social media and painted a picture of just how many people endure sexual abuse and harassment every day.
In regards to sexual abuse, that's a very serious issue. There are many young women who do have to endure sexual abuse, particularly if they're children. But young boys also endure it as well. I did a video on that a long time ago in regards to the Antoine Fisher movie. They don't like to talk about what the little boys are going through, though, because once again, pedophilia, pederasty, man-boy love is a major cultural undercurrent of this society. Okay? So it's a promotion of homosexuality. So they're not going to talk about the amount of young men who are going out to Hollywood and getting raped or getting told that they must provide these sexual favors. This is why you see the promotion of directors and producers like Lee Daniels and Tyler Perry, because they get down with the team. Not only do they get down with the team, they become captains of the team. All right, as a young black male actor in Hollywood right now, anybody you see working with those guys, they bent over, period. All right, allegedly. But that's how those guys get down. That's why they get all type of production deals and TV shows, things of that nature. But, you know, they love to talk about what these women are going through. They don't talk about people like Bryan Singer and what's his other guy's name? Kevin Spacey. No. These homosexual sex predators all throughout Hollywood and these pedophile sex predators.
Hey, Jerika Duncan is here with why these women are coming forward now. Jerika, good morning.
Good morning. You know, these survivors are sharing their personal stories of harassment and assault online. Many of the women spoke to, we say they are reliving painful personal traumas while hoping to break the cycle.
I decided to call it rape.
No, you can't decide to call something rape, bitch. Either you got raped or not. All right? It's very clear to me that you're a psycho. See, people like her make it difficult for females who actually get raped to be believed. This is why most of these police departments do not believe the woman or treat her as if she's lying initially, because they know that many of these women are dealing with fractured psyches. A lot of them don't even know what the hell is going on. You know, they think that they're invincible. They go to these colleges or these universities. They get fallen down drunk. They wake up next to one guy, two guys, wake up butt naked, leaking from the vagina. All of a sudden, I got raped because I don't remember what happened. Well, once you get plied with liquor, that's normally what happens. You don't remember what occurs after that.
Because I was blacked out drunk and I was taken advantage of.
Yeah, sound like you're a $2 hoe. That's what it sounded like to me. A $2 hoe, maybe $1.50. Who knows?
I don't remember what happened.
So then you can't call it raped, and you don't deserve to be on the show.
Sharing her experience as a rape survivor has been empowering for Haley Jacobson.
You see what they did there? She herself said that she does not remember what happened, but the voice in the background said sharing her experience as a rape survivor. No, she didn't survive rape. She survived being falling down drunk and probably, Lord knows, might have got a damn train ran on her. You could just call her Grand Central Station.
It's my truth and no one can take that away from me. It's my...
No, ma'am. There's only one truth. There's the truth. There's no such thing as your truth. All right? If what you believe is actually the truth, then you should name that person's name. Name his name so that he could take you to court.
It's my story.
Jacobson wrote on Facebook Monday, "I woke up today knowing it was time. I published this because I would do anything to have had these words at 16.
Yeah, okay. So what was you doing drinking at 16? Now look, if you look in the upper right-hand area of the screen, it says Haley Jacobson, playwright, poet, producer. What is that? What are those all pseudonyms for? Fabricator. Okay? That's what these playwrights and poets do. They sit down and they make shit up. This is another female looking for attention, hoping to get a leeway into the entertainment industry. I was raped at 16. Oh no, by the way, look at my script.
Me
too. And I was blamed for it. I was told not to talk about it. I was 9 years old when the child sexual abuse started.
The massive
Now that's a real issue right there.
Response to #MeToo demonstrated what many women already know. Americans are sexually assaulted every 98 seconds, and 1 in 6 women have faced rape.
It took me years to label what happened to me as sexual assault.
So then, you know what? I need you to get explicit. Because if it took you all them years to figure out that you got raped, I have to question if you got raped. Who the hell is raping her?
Pittsburgh City Councilwoman Natalia Rudiak wrote in a Facebook post Monday, "No one would even dare suspect I've been raped, but I have. It happened to me." She continued, "I've been touched inappropriately by donors and come on to by so-called political allies and physically intimidated by men in politics."
Please be specific. What does that mean? You've been touched inappropriately. Somebody walked up to you, grabbed one of your titties and said, I wish I had a glass so I can get some of that milk. I mean, what does that even mean? Did they bump up against you and didn't say sorry? Like, a lot of these women are so bugged out, you never know what the hell really happened. And physically intimidated by men in politics. What? No, I think that you're just physically intimidated because you're a woman. If a man stands next to you and he happens to be 6'1", that's not his fault.
I never wanted my political adversaries to see this as a vulnerability to exploit. I never wanted to be seen as weak.
So now you're going to take advantage of this moment and take your alleged sexual harassment, and not only are you not going to take it as being a sign of weakness, you're going to take it to promote yourself as a sign of strength, because this is your moment. Once again, brothers, this is going to be used to exalt the woman. This is why I tell cats, do not even speak to these women unless it's the female that you're dealing with or it's the woman in your family. Ignore them. Too many cats out here are giving these women too much attention. This is why, and a lot of these bros out here, they're so bugged out, they don't even know what to do with the attention that they're getting. That's why they're trying to contort everything into something negative. And unfortunately, there are females that are actually out here getting sexually assaulted and abused. But it takes a long period of time to discern which is which, because so many of these females are pathological liars, to be quite frank with you, particularly the liberal ones. All right, especially them.
There's no more room for judgment. There's no more room for shaming.
You see that? When she says there's no more room for judgment or shaming, what is she talking about? She's not talking about a woman getting sexually assaulted. She's talking about a woman being a hoe. All right? When they talk about no more room for judgment and shaming, she's talking about them being hoes. Then that's all she's talking about.
Wolf Hurd is the founder and CEO of the social platform Bumble. She says the digital harassment she experienced ultimately influenced her business model.
I would like to see why you were digitally harassed. I would like to see the photos that you posted up on the internet. This is why I said it's very clear when she was talking that she wasn't talking about, being harassed or assaulted sexually. She was talking about having to suffer the repercussions of depicting herself as what most of these liberal females depict themselves as, which is $2 hoes.
This model.
I was being harassed daily. We really have a zero tolerance policy for harassment in our platform or at our office.
Yeah, I hope that it's both ways. Now you can see this man, this male sitting on the right is a homosexual. That is that they want to promote, from here on in the corporate America workforce and in the workplace. They want it to be dominated by feminine energy. Notice the color scheme. They're all sitting in pink chairs. Pink is the color for homosexuality. Pink does not even really represent femininity. Pink is a color for little girls and homosexuals. Okay? Different colors have a vibration that comes off of them. And this is what they're telling you. And this is why I tell cats, man, and I'm going to reiterate, especially for the so-called black man, especially for younger cats, stop giving these random females, so much attention. The woman does not know what to do with all the attention, the random attention that you're giving them. Unless it's the female that you're dealing with, it's just my perspective. Don't even talk to them. If it's just a platonic workplace interaction, don't even speak to them. You will find that when you don't deal with them, when you don't interact with them, they will shrivel up. Because deep down, the woman wants attention. She just doesn't know where she should be getting it from, because this society has destroyed the rapport between the man and the woman. The woman no longer values herself as a wife and a mother. Now she wants to usurp the role of the man. And this is what all this is really about. They're trying to turn everything upside down and invert it and make the woman a figurehead for leadership. This is why I tell a lot of you pro-black dudes, so-called pro-black dudes, who follow behind that Black Lives Matter shit. All you're doing is following behind black lesbians. All right? But a lot of you simple-ass dudes that are into that shit, you're not going to figure that out until it's too late. All right? But anyway, let's get back to what we're talking about here.
Incredibly important that we all in our own respective fields and industries look in the mirror and say, what are we doing to be a part of the solution, not a part of the problem?
These personal stories are just the tip of the iceberg. Many of the women that we spoke to say that they're trying to spread a greater understanding of how often harassment and assault happens in our society.
Yes, and, you know, I think that men should pay very, very close attention to what these females are saying. Why is that? So that you know how to coexist with them. A lot of these dudes, I shouldn't say a lot. You got a lot of the low-level thinking pro-black dudes who got a little, you know, they got themselves in a little bit of a tizzy, you know, in that 2-part Cam Newton series that I did, the first video. Why is that? Because I was taking Cam Newton to task for his rashness, for his inability to control what came out of his mouth, and his lack of discretion. Oh, well, you know, well, Cam should have the right to express himself. And no, dude, no. When you understand where you are, then you understand what to say, when to say it, how to say it. You know, so-called black men, a lot of brothers have are at the level of like I said, of a teenage boy. They think they should just be able to do whatever. That's not how it works. You have to understand your enemy so that you know how to attack them. These females right now are being built up to believe that they're on the level of a man. And the best way to nullify a female is to ignore her. This is why they say asinine things when they're dressed like prostitutes. I'm not dressing like this for anybody else's attention. I'm dressing like this for me. No, bitch. If that was the case, you'd still be at home. Okay? When you left your house, the reason why you dress like that is to get people to look at you. But you're so bugged out of your damn mind, you have to tell yourself that you're dressing like that for yourself, because you refuse to admit that your essential nature is to try to attract men. Right? When you look at the animal kingdom, when mating season happens, what happens? The females, their posteriors get fatter. They walk around looking to attract men. They give off pheromones. Right? The men start fighting, or rutting, as they call it, amongst certain species, particularly the ones with antlers or horns. Right? Amongst the carnivores, the men start fighting for the opportunity to procreate with the woman. So obviously, amongst humans, the woman wants to give off an energy of attraction. It's not for herself. It's to be attracted to men. It's for men to find her attractive. But they don't want to acknowledge that, because to acknowledge that would be to show that they need men. So all this stuff is a bunch of nonsense.
Some women online are calling for men now to admit when they have harassed or assaulted someone. As a result, the hashtag #IHave is appearing on social media.
Well, I have had about enough of you guys and your bullshit. That's what I have had. Okay? Once again, if you're so independent and you don't need men, then you should not need men to acquiesce to any of your demands. You should be fully self-validated.
Yeah.
Now look at that. They're all looking at this dude now. Now this guy has to play the bitch role. They don't do that to Charlie Rose because they know he's a high-level member of the Council of Foreign Relations. Once again, and men with experience and men who are three-dimensional thinkers understand this very well. The woman respects power. She respects prestige. This guy here to the left most likely has none, and you could tell he's kind of low-level. He has a very demure personality on the air. And when the female sees that, she's going to try to walk on you, and she's going to see if you're going to take it.
Interesting, the digital part of it.
It was interesting to see. Alyssa Milano started this, right? Correct. And it's interesting to see, she said, as dark as this is, the light of this is that so many people have the opportunity now to share what they've been holding inside. Yeah.
Amazing how many women we spoke to on the phone, through Twitter, who shared their story for the first time and said they felt so empowered by being able to say me too. But
yeah, the empowerment comes from the fact that, they all can join in a communal ritual. Some of them actually have been the victims of assault. Many of them, I'm sure, have not. Many of them just wish that they were, because then they would have been relevant to a man in some way, shape, or form. Once again, ignore a lot of these broads, man. You know, you give attention to the female or females that you're with and the females in your family. Rest of these women, give them what they want. They claim that they want to be respected. You give somebody their respect, particularly people who have a lot of psychological baggage, by leaving them alone to their own thoughts. I guarantee you after that, the woman will start to humble herself and come towards you with a much better understanding of what her proper place is.
It's a sad story to tell that there are so many people that have that.
Imagine holding it in and then realizing, listen, I'm not alone. We know that, and that other people are supporting you and actually cheering you on to speak up. But what I think is important too is for the men to speak up and say, this is not okay.
Why you need the men to speak up for, Gail? Aren't you an independent woman? I know you love to run with that line. I'm a strong black woman. I'm sure that you run with that shit. You don't need men to speak up for you, right? Isn't that one of the favorite lines of liberal women, that you don't need a man to do this or that for you, or speak up for you, or speak for you? So then you should need them in this situation, right? All you should need is the confederation of women that you guys are allegedly building up, and that should be that.
Absolutely. This is not okay. They need to be a big part of this conversation. Well said.
Yeah. That's normal liberal black rhetoric too. Remember, liberal blacks tell you that, what we really need is for white people to join in. That's how you know when a movement is bullshit, when they got to call on somebody else to co-sign it or really commandeer it. Because, look, let me say this too. Most of these females know that they're not good at organizing anything. So the reason why they're calling on men is because they know if this thing is going to gain traction, they will need a man, a liberal man, to organize it, formulate it, and implement it. Because women are not good at organizing, unless it's stuff around the house. They're not good at making up a plan and strategically plotting things out for a large collective.
Thank you, Jerika.
Thank you very much. Cities across.
But anyway, peace.